Okay, so you guys didn't mind the salmonella parody video, but you did mind that I didn't like it. So somebody watched all of the ones they could find and sent me a list of all the salmonella parodies that they think are worth it. And this one is World War II animal explosives, partially in part of the situation going on. We possibly have a conflict going on that might turn into a world conflict, even though we've actually gotten pretty serious about sanctions for the first time since Cuba, which sounds kind of weird to say, but sanctions might actually be working this time. But let's get into it, man. Animal explosives in World War II. It is a salmonella parody. Take that with a grain of salt. Let's see if we can, you know, there's no need to say anything else, you know, right? You were there, you watched it. Nobody can be like Sam. I think I just didn't let that go enough before the last video I watched. I wasn't blown away the first time. I'm only back because of a recommendation from a man I trust. So let's get into it. Here we go. Sam Dorilla Academy. You know what it is. All right, here we go.
Hey kids, do you like animals? Do you also like weapons of mass death and destruction? Well,
We're in
today
it.
must be your lucky day, because it looks like there's been a crazy mix-up in the God's Resentment Towards Humanity factory. And now, straight
Okay,
off
let's
the
hold on,
mix-up
let's
in
see
the
this real
God's
quick. Night Corps, weapons of war, and animals.
Resentment
All
Towards
right.
Humanity
All right.
factory. And now, straight off the production line, we have animal explosives, patent pending. So it turns out, for some bizarre reason, in the mid-20th century, people were just really fascinated with making animals go boom. So in World War II, we got to see multiple weapons projects devoted to just that. So, without a second to waste, let's just dive right in. First off, we have the infamous bat bomb. First conceived in 1942 by American dental surgeon Lytle S. Adams, the
Oh my God.
device consisted of a large tube filled with hibernating bats with literal napalm bombs glued to them.
Wow.
When the bomb was dropped by a B-52 bomber, the device then flipped open like an accordion and released all the bats, who would then seek shelter in dark areas like roofs, attics, and your preteen years. Then the bombs would go off and set fire to wherever they ended up, which in a place made mostly of wood and paper like 20th century Japan, would be pretty devastating. Funny enough, it got its first real-world test run when a bomb was being transported at Carlsbad Army Airfield, the doors just randomly swung open, and bats went all over the place, which then burned down the entire hangar they were in.
Shut the fuck up. Shut up. This cannot be our history.
After that, the Air Force just dumped the project on the Navy and called it a day. Ultimately, it was decided that the project would just take too long to make, and that the money should be spent on another, faster-moving project. A little program known as the Manhattan Project.
Oh, goddamn.
Next up, we have another blessing to our furry little friends,
Okay.
the rat bomb.
Okay.
These were developed by the British SOE for use against the Germans during the war.
I've seen that in a parody. I didn't know that that was actually
The
real.
idea being, get a bunch of dead rats, stuff them with plastic explosives, then lay them around German boiler rooms. The boiler attendant, when he saw the thing, would naturally then just shovel it into the boiler to dispose of it, and then kablam! However, the first shipment of rats was actually caught by the Germans, so they were never actually used in the war. However, it turns out they were kind of a success after all.
Why?
Since after the Germans found it, it kind of sent them into a frenzy across the country, looking for dead rat bombs that didn't actually exist, with the good old Brittles concluding, the trouble caused to them was a much greater success to us than if the rats had actually been used. Now that's what I call positive thinking. And finally, we have what's sure to be the most popular of the bunch, the dog bomb, also known as the anti-tank dogs. These were dogs trained by the Soviets to destroy German tanks on the battlefield.
What?
The way it would work is, strap a harness loaded with explosives to the pooch in question.
no.
Have the dog run underneath the tank.
No.
Pull a cord to release said harness, and then have him run back before the bomb
okay.
detonates.
Oh,
Simple,
okay.
right? The only problem was, training the dogs to do just that was a little easier said than done. So it often went like, okay boy, go to the tank. Yes, yes, just go to the tank. Yes, good boy. All right, now pull the string. Pull the string. Come on, boy. Pull the string. Pull the string. No, Fido. So after enough
That
of
goes
that,
wrong
the
in
Red
literally
Army
the
just
worst
decided
way.
to say fuck you to PETA and just have the dogs be suicide bombers, putting a lever on top that would set off the bomb as soon as the dog dove under the tank. But when they tried it out on the battlefield, surprise, surprise, a dog is still a dog. So all the gunfire and explosions and shit going on would scare the dogs, who would naturally then run back to the trenches they were released from. And now, as crazy as
That's the worst kind of karma.
it sounds, there are actually still a few other explosive animals I left out of this video, so let me know in the comments if you want a part 2. Now, I think the moral of the story is, when Hitler is a-clappin', about to bust the load, just grab a bunch of critters and rig them to explode. Anyways, I'm Samuel Drella, and thank you for watching.
All right. All right. You win. You win. Not Salmonella. You freaking win, you son of a bitch. You got better. You freaking got better. Short, sweet, and to the point. I hate to admit it, but that was awesome. That was fantastic. And the last joke was just so much of like, did you have to bring it? Did you have to do it? No, you did it anyways. I can't even be mad at you for it. That's it. It speaks for itself. Animals actually used as explosions. I've heard of these. That's not the right kind of rat bombs. Let's go with bat bombs. It is well documented also. Bat bombs of World War II. Thanks, Alex. December 7th, 1941, Pennsylvania dentist named Lionel S. Adams on vacation Southwest. Turns home to spelunking. Thanks, which is like a random fucking interview. So when he turned on the radio of Penn State, the news that Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, he was cloning a very unusual form of revenge. So if you have a good idea for like a weapon of mass destruction, you could just go to the DOD and just like spit the idea. Convinces the writer that if executed competently, it would have every chance of success. Yeah, like things like NATO, I'm glad exist because they stop us from doing shit like this. Jesus Christ, just a half fucking baked decision that leads to unadulterated destruction that we then suffer, not seeing the obvious. You do not make a bomb you cannot control. That's like the first rule of these substances. If you can control it, you can do it. But that's why you get rid of X factors like will. Use inanimate, soulless objects to get your objective done, guys. Don't be cold, hard, and calculated. Be just very toxically controlling, like your boyfriend once was. Right? You want to be able to control that shit. Who wants a bomb that just flaps around willy-nilly? You ever tried talking to a bat? They have terrible conversation. All right? Anyways, we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for rolling through. Peace.